Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad that you've joined me here on these coaching calls. This is number one, and it's so foundational because it's all on how to regenerate your metabolism and your gut. So let's start by just looking at the word metabolism. What is metabolism? Basically, this is what refers to everything that your body consumes on a daily basis. It converts this to energy for your body. So I like to help people understand that this is such a crucial part to your health because your energy is what fuels all of your bodily functions. So if you stop and look at what is your gut, well, basically your gut or your alimentary canal is what keeps everything moving. It's what takes these nutrients and actually metabolizes them, turns them into energy, and it stores them and puts our nutrients in places that we need. Plus, it protects your body from anything harmful, or at least it tries. These processes are so important for your body because if you look at this, basically it all starts in the gut. Everything takes place in the gut. So to me, this is important to understand because it helps us understand that everything you take in every day matters. And unfortunately, most guts have actually become a cesspool of contamination. And this is where we end up with a toxic gut, which creates disease, dysfunction, and disorder. And actually, most people don't realize that 93% of our population fits into this toxic gut category. When we have a toxic gut, we don't feel good. And just like Hippocrates said centuries ago, all disease begins in the gut. So what disrupts your gut microbiome? Look at that list on the left. It starts with processed foods. They've introduced this to us, but you know what? It's a very unfair exchange because what we have in our processed foods, we've removed the nutrition and they've added the chemicals, the enhancers, the stabilizers, pesticides. There's so many things that go into there that your gut actually doesn't recognize as a food. It has to reckon with, and it can't. It slows down and it struggles. So alcohol, tobacco is a problem. Pharmaceuticals, and especially antibiotics, are a real problem for your gut because it actually is more synthetic chemicals, but it wipes out your gut. Additionally, we have lack of physical exercise, lack of sleep, lack of enzymes, lack of nutrition, and probiotics. These are super important, needed for your gut. So what makes a happy and healthy gut? Well, a happy and healthy gut is by consuming the right fuel, the right food, the right drinks, that include good nutrients, that don't have those chemicals, fillers, or synthetics and processes. We want a clean gut because this helps, opposite than disease, dysfunction, and disorder. It creates ease, order, and function. And to me, that's so important to understand. What makes a gut microbiome flourish? Well, we want to eat whole foods that are high in fiber that we can find in nature. We want to eat foods that are water rich, nutrient dense, and especially raw foods because they have the enzymes needed for proper digestion. And I'm going to talk about enzymes more and more. But we need to understand that your gut was never meant to produce all the enzymes to digest your food. we need to supply those enzymes with our foods or with a supplement, preferably starting with our foods, and that comes from our raw foods. So we need to have sufficient probiotics in our diet, clean water to cleanse, daily physical exercise, quality sleep, and low stress also really help our guts flourish. What most people don't know is that for healthy digestion to take place, your gut actually requires, not wants or could use, but it requires a wide range of macro and micronutrients. Now, again, we'll talk more about the macro and micro nutrients, but our macros are more of the foods we can see, like our proteins, our fats, and our carbs, where our micronutrients are vitamins and minerals, enzymes, probiotics, omega-3 oils. These are what are so important. And our body requires these in order to function properly. And if we don't get enough, guess what? Our gut has to rob them from our body stores. And this is what creates disorder. What most people don't know as well is that what you drink should cleanse. Cleansing is so important. We eat to nourish, basically, but also cleanse. But we drink to cleanse and also nourish. So what we drink is super important. And if what you drink does not cleanse or nourish, what is it doing? Is it creating toxicity? You know, not too long ago, I saw an article that said 45% of Americans' intake of sugar comes from drinks. Wow. If you could remove all of those drinks from your diet, other than water or herbal teas, basically you'll actually cut down on a lot of costs, but a lot of health issues and gut issues as well, because our drinks should cleanse. And if they're full of sugars and food colors and artificial flavors and all of these other things that our bodies don't need, then it's polluting and it creates that toxic gut. So let's talk about a leaky gut just for a minute. Now, if you will look at, we have this epithelial layer that has those little threads or those little villi that look like fingers. Those actually absorb the micronutrients that are going through our gut wall, and, or I should say, going down our alimentary canal. And as the food passes through, these things are absorbed into our bloodstream. However, when we overconsume chemicals and genetically modified foods, which is a huge factor in the gluten issues and food intolerance issues, that genetically modified foods aren't real foods. So we have these microorganisms, these toxins, these substances that your body cannot assimilate, but it sits and it rots in your guts. And when that happens, it creates inflammation and eventually perforations through that gut lining, that epithelial layer, and undigested food is passed into your bloodstream. Well, basically, to say it straight, basically we have poop going into your bloodstream. And what's going to happen when that takes place? Well, your body is going to fight back. The soldiers in your army are going to fight. And thus we get that term, your body fighting against itself, in autoimmunity. So if you look at all of the different challenges down below that are caused from leaky gut, you can see that this is a real problem for all of many of the issues that we are facing in today's world. And if we look at this just a little bit further on what your gut really needs, it needs and requires at least 45% positive gut bacteria. Now, we get this through our probiotics, good enzymes, good nutrition, good nutrient sources, but also from cleansing, being able properly. We need to be able to cleanse. So we really need that good positive gut bacteria to begin with. Because when you eat, your gut must decide, is this a friend or is this a foe? And when we eat too many toxic foods, this basically weakens your defense systems. The soldiers in your army are overtaken, and that's where those perforations happen. And look at the cycle that creates that inflammation, nutrient malabsorption, immune response, GI issues, and those autoimmune diseases. So if you look at this list, you can see and maybe recognize that most of the conditions that we are facing today are really leaky gut, which goes back to an unhealthy gut or a toxic gut, which goes back to it starts with what we eat and put into our bodies each and every day, each and every step of the way. Super important to really understand this. So how can we regenerate your metabolism and your gut and create this positive gut? Well, number one, we've got to eat foods that nourish and cleanse your gut. So if you look at some of these foods that you see here, first of all, you're seeing a lot of colorful, you're seeing a lot of raw, but these are whole foods. These are whole foods that you can recognize. You can recognize brown rice or beans or red pepper, lettuce, chicken. You recognize these as whole foods. There's basically a little bit of chopping or maybe slightly cooking involved, but you recognize these as whole foods. These are what we want to look for our sources. Organic foods, if possible, simply because we want to stay away from the genetically modified foods. And even our fruits and vegetables can sometimes be genetically modified. And that's sad, right? Also, our fermented foods, our raw sauerkraut, not canned, but raw sauerkraut, and maybe kefir or some of these other fermented drinks that you see on the market today. These are good to help restore that good positive bacteria in your gut microbiome and can be very good for nourishing and cleansing your gut. Number two is to follow the 30-day activate, cleanse, and renew plan. Now, to many of you, this may not be new. To some of you, it may be. But this is a plan that really helps you be able to create that regeneration in your gut and can reactivate your gut. So, do you have a question, Rita?
I do, but I don't want to go against how you want us to ask questions at the end, but I have a question on this right here.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
So I did purchase the plan. So I was kind of confused when it says the first 2 capsules, 30 days, 30 days. So am I doing the top one first? And so I was kind of confused on how to actually do the program, even though it was 30 days, but says a 90-day. So I was just confused.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you asked that question because we definitely want to address that right now. So you can see all of those orange lines right below it says 30 days. So we want to do these like the lifelong vitality is 30 days. The Terrazyme 30 days, the Zenderkin 30 days. The GX is only the middle days, the day 11 through 20. And then the PB Assist is day 21 through 30. And the lemon in water is the full 30 days. But for a 90-day period is super, super important. So you basically repeat it 2 more times. So you're doing this 30-day plan for 90 days. And the important thing about this is that actually this is what resets your gut. In 30 days, we can't really undo everything that's happened the last 30 or 60 years, right? It's not going to happen in 30 days. It's not necessarily going to happen in 90 days either, but if you're really, really consistent, you'll see huge changes in 90 days. Whereas 30 days, you're just starting off, but it really hasn't reset your gut. We are told that 21 days can change a habit, but 90 days can change a lifestyle. And I really believe this. We really want to change our lifestyle, and that is super, super important. And that's why this 90-day period is really important. Does that help you understand that?
Yeah, so I was just making sure it wasn't 30 days, take this and another. So it's all, I'm taking all of this in the 30-day period, just the GX and the PX is in those 10-day period.
Well, I also even recommend that you continue on with the PB anytime that you're not taking the GX. They kind of counteract against each other. So basically, the GX is going to cancel out the PB. So
Mhm.
I like to suggest that you take it anytime you're not doing the GX. And that's a better way to do it. But as I go through this, you can kind of see where I'm going with that.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
great. You're welcome. So let's take the top one, the Microplex VMZ, your lifelong vitality pack with the other two products. These three are super, super important. So the Alpha CRS Plus is your antioxidant formula. The Microplex VMZ is your basic foundational vitamins and minerals, whereas your Z Omega is your omega-3 oils plus 9 essential oils that actually take this cellular. We are told that this supplement formula actually is absorbed through the body 10 times more than anything out there on the market. Even if they had this list on the left in the same proportions, this lifelong vitality absorbs it 10 times more than those on the market. And I totally believe this because other vitamins and minerals that I take on the market, I always see yellow pee in the toilet. I always have, always have. And it's because your body actually can't absorb it. And so it actually sloughs it off. And we end up having very expensive pee, which is what some people say. That's what happens. So basically, this chart on the left is showing what your basic diet is, and then you add these nutrients. It almost doubles and sometimes triples those proportions and helps get you to that sweet spot, that light line that goes down there. That's kind of where we want to be. We want to make sure that we are getting to that sweet spot because, again, your body relies on balanced nutrition. It doesn't just want a little bit, it really wants a good balance in order to function properly. And we need to make sure and get those in good doses that will support our body. There's many wonderful health benefits from this lifelong vitality pack, as you can see here in this little diagram. So definitely keep this in mind and remember that this is so foundational and can really help you with the benefits that you're looking for long term. Now let's take a look at Terrazyme. I first want you to focus on that picture in the middle. This is actually a cross section picture of a sewer pipe. Do you know that most guts look like this too? So there's undigested material. So why does it become undigestible? And why does it sit there? Well, it does simply because it can't, there's not enough fiber, there's not enough nutrients in order to make that happen. So it just sits there and rots, especially if you eat a high carb diet with processed foods. So we go back to our enzymes and why they are so important, basically, because they really help to first support your body's production of enzymes, but they help with digesting our foods. But additionally, they actually can help break down the debris in your gut. And this is why I suggest even taking this first thing in the morning, which I'll show in the diagram in a minute. Super, super important. Now, I want to explain that, again, your body does produce some enzymes, but this is where we understand that eventually, when you do not supply your gut with the proper enzymes needed, your body eventually cannot produce enzymes. So you will see as people get older, their tummies get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is because their bodies are no longer producing enzymes. They're not being able to digest their food simply because they haven't supplied their bodies with enzymes through the foods that they've eaten until your body runs out of the ability to produce them naturally. So that's why we normally have to end up with enzymes later on in life to digest our foods. And it really helps us through that digestive process. And I might say that this Terrazyme formula has been tested by a very good company that tested them against many other enzyme formulas out there, and they couldn't believe how much ours worked better. So I'm really, really happy with this formula, and I highly recommend it for being able to properly absorb your foods. Okay, then we have the Zender complex. This is kind of like the repairman. We have two formulas. This is the complex, and it's all herbal. And this is so good for 5-organ cleanse: our liver, kidneys, colon, lungs, and skin. So this really does help those different organs in our body, and really, as I mentioned, act as the repairman. They really help to repair those areas that are in need of repair. Then this is an optional formula, but we call this more of our maintenance man. He kind of helped support and supply our body with those needed nutrients, our essential oil blend of those 5 different essential oils to help in that digestive and cleansing and detoxification process. So even though these are different formulas, we've got our herbal formula and our essential oil formula, and they are a little bit different. You can use them interchangeably, or you can use both. And usually I recommend both, but at least if you start with the Zenderkin complex and then move to the Zenderkin soft gels or the essential oil itself, these are really, really good as a 5-organ cleanse and support system. Then we have our GX Assist. This is our 10-day cleanse. And this is where we have those 6 different essential oils. These are more of those candida purgers. And this is the number one thing that people report after taking the GX Assist is, I have no more sugar cravings. What happened? Well, this is because of this product. It's much like an antibiotic, but it's very gentle, and it works with essential oils that not only remove a lot of that bad bacteria and that candida and all of those unhealthy microorganisms, but it also nourishes in the same way. And this is why this is so good. And just like after every antibiotic, we follow with a probiotic, we're going to do that here as well. That's what the PB Assist Plus does. It's your 10-day restore. But again, I like to recommend taking this every day that you're not taking the GX Assist. For the 10-day restore, you kind of want to take it once every morning and evening. But after that, once a day is okay. But what I like about this, it's a double encapsulated soft gel. The outside is actually your prebiotic fiber. What's a prebiotic? Well, actually, it feeds your probiotic and creates not only that, the production of probiotics, as well as supply it with good, healthy probiotics. So this is an amazing soft gel to be able to supply and support your body with good prebiotics and probiotics. Now, additionally, number 3 is to increase your daily water intake. And as I talk with many of the people that I'm coaching, we need to look at least half to 3/4 of your body's weight in ounces every day. A lot of people will admit that they're only drinking maybe 8 to 16 ounces of water every day. And most of the time, they're not even drinking that. They're drinking juices and coffee and sport drinks and all these other things that aren't water. Water is your cleanser. We need it to cleanse. And its ability to do so is actually accelerated when we add our citrus essential oils to it. So it actually accelerates the process and improves your digestion and metabolism by doing so. So we want to make sure that we get that water and that lemon essential oil every day. So to sum this up, here is the 30-day Activate, Cleanse, and Renew chart that I really encourage people to follow. First of all, when you get up in the morning, half hour before you eat or do anything, first thing, if you can go get that glass of water, put a few drops of lemon essential oil in it, and take 2 Terrazyme. Again, this is jump starting your metabolism. It's starting to break down everything in your gut. And it helps to improve digestion. If you can remove all of that sludge in your gut, you are going to be further along the way. Then get those lifelong vitality capsules, 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening. Get your enzymes with, again, upon a rising 1 to 2 of those, and 1 to 2 with each cooked meal. Sometimes you even want to take it between meals and at the end of the day, which this is why I usually encourage people to get 2 bottles the first month, because this is the real important month to make some changes. And if you can get more Terrazyme in there to help break down the sludge, to help you digest your food, and to keep your colon clean and running smooth, it really does so much for you. Then we want to get those Zenderkin detoxification capsules morning and evening. And if you do the soft gels, do the same, 1 of each, morning and evening. And then we do not start with the GX Assist until day 11 through 20. Then we stop taking that and start in with our PB Assist, 1 in the morning and 1 with your dinner meal. And then again, you can take 1 a day for every other day that you're not taking the GX. And then keep the water and the lemon going all day long between your meals. This, if you did this as a 90-day plan, creates that gut reset. Now, from there, we can go on with many of these items. And personally, I'll be honest in telling you, I take every one of these and follow this plan every day of my life, except for the GX. I don't take the GX every day. You shouldn't take it every day. You don't want to, because it's your gut purger. But I do take either the Zenderkin Detox Complex or the soft gels on a daily basis. To me, those are super, super important because we need to cleanse every day. But this is super helpful for regenerating your gut and creating that gut reset. So a healthy gut is a healthy you. It all starts by really working on your gut and being mindful of what you put in your body. Each bite, each drink or swallow matters. So this is the way that you can actually reset your gut and continue for long-term benefits. If you have not taken that free wellness assessment, here's the link to be able to do that. And hopefully you'll do that. But other than that, I'm just going to open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions on anything that I shared? And I'm glad to go back and show, go to one of the slides if you feel like you need to reference one of the slides. But let me know what questions you have.
I didn't have any questions. I think it was one slide, but that's okay. I think this was very helpful because many times we don't always understand the process and what the gut does. And I think the slide that shows how a healthy gut, and I looked on the list of illnesses and things, have a few of those up there, probably more than half, whether it's inflammation, I've had issues with bowels and bloating. So you think about not understanding how your body works and what's good for it can really lead to issues that doctors just want to do surgery or more drugs when looking at the screen, cleansing our gut can heal most of these issues. So I think that was the most powerful thing. And to get this so that I can really share with other people, because many people are on a lot of drugs for stuff, but they just need to cleanse their gut.
That's it. It really, you've hit it right on the nail. And I'm really glad that you recognize this, because we can do all these other things, but it's more chemicals. It's more things that really address a symptom, but it really doesn't correct the root problem. And the root problem is our gut. And if we can really get our gut in order, we can put the right things in and leave the wrong things out and cleanse our gut and repair it, then we can be on the road to a better, healthy system lifelong. And it will work lifelong.
Now, this was really good.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Rita,